So we're learning, instead of our weekly learning in the office, we're learning it in the Beis Midrash, just because, just the way it worked out this week, busy week, Baruch Hashem. I'll be traveling to England, UK for 2 weeks, so just got a lot going on, and also the office has a lot going on, so we managed to make it here and do the learning a little bit later after the work. We switched the orders, so here we are, we're learning about Hilchos Chanukah. And also we're going to touch on today, as a surprise, a little bit of Likutei Moharan about something which is a bit sensitive but needs to be discussed. And Min Hashamayim, as anyone who's been learning with me knows, we're in Torah Vav and happens to be on that subject. So we'll see how we're connected into Chanukah, Likutei Moharan, and everything is with divine providence, which is how Torah should be learned. Everyone has their own portion, and when you learn, it's Hashem shining to you what truth you need to know that day. It's not just whatever. So, you were learning about Tochen. That's your chelik right now of Torah coming alive, your portion. And right now we're not so long off from Chanukah, and being that we only learn once a week these learnings, so we need to start early to get all the halachas learned and understood and hopefully internalized through the Sifrei Chassidus. All types of oil are valid for Chanukah lights. So we all know, based on the Morah Shemesh and the Moranaim, those two different tzaddikim, that the concept of Chanukah is to go down lamata to the lowest places, but it also has the ability to elevate even the lowest kind of people, or oils in this case, because we're compared in the Tanya to a candle. We have a wick, which is our guf. We have the oil, which is like the shaman is neshama, the soul, and what lights it up is the Torah, or the or, the pneumius, and that brings the fire, the eish, lahava, Beis Yosef lahava, the flame from Yosef, from the Beis Yaakov. It lights up with the fire, this neshama, this soul, and we have the miracle of Chanukah. So it says here all the different types of oils are kosher. So that means all kinds of Jews, every kind of person is kosher for Chanukah. How the choicest way to perform the mitzvah, we learned the other day, is to lakach shemen zayis. You should take the best, which is the pure shemen zayis, which is where we're sitting right now. We're sitting in Zayit on Rocha Matziol, which is all very Hanukkah. Yeah. So in Shirat David, Dumia Denei Shemikdash Shahaya b'Shemen Zayis, in emulation of the miracle in the temple that occurred with olive oil. If oil is unavailable, he should choose another oil that produces a clear, clean flame. Or nerish or shalva. So some people you see use wax candles, which is shalva, or they use oil, but it has to be a kind of oil that's clear, a clean flame. Shugam kain oire zach, whose light is also clear. The indication of Mishnah Berurah is that using any type of oil is preferable to using candles. So, for example, I get candles for my kids, who are younger. For my daughter, she's just turned 12, Oh no, now she's 13, just turned 13. So really I could upgrade it to oil, but I only have a certain amount of oil lamps. So for my boys, I try to give them all oil, They're all older than her. And I want them to do the mitzvahs as best they can, so it can be a little bit of an effort sometimes, but you get hold of a bunch of oil lamps. Oil menorah, like glass and things like that. Then he goes, Lo ha'ishnaim kloim b'yachad. Another issue is it not only should be clear oil, a clear light, it should be not made of two candles that have been twisted together. So if you are going to use candles, then if they twist together, it becomes a havdalah like style. Havdalahs, they're all twisted together. That's what you should use for havdalah. So they shouldn't. One of the reasons why is because you want to we're fast on the miracle, the nes. The miracle of Hanukkah is 8 days. So you need to be able to see the misparim, the amount of candles. And if they're joined together, you're just going to have one flame instead of, for example, on the second night, you have two flames. And then you won't be able to do Makayim the mitzvah of Mahajim and Mahajim. So it's another reason. But it could also be because it's pasul, from just in the halachas of a menorah to have this kind of flame, a havdalah flame. Mishum dahavi k'medoira. He says here because the reason is because it's akin to a torch. Elakol ner yechidi. Every candle must stand by itself. So he's going to explain underneath. A torch is not a fulfillment of the requirement of the sage to light a single flame. It's supposed to use for any mitzvah to purpose candles that were previously lit in the service of idol worship. Okay, so that's another issue. So if you went to India where there still is some form of avodah zarah, don't use those candles you purchased there. Even though once they're purchased, there's an Indian that is bottled from the din of avodah zarah, of idol worship, because once it becomes commercial, obviously they're not selling their gods. Yeah, so then it's not really. But nevertheless, if it was purchased from a place like that, it's better not to use. Mishum demayas, because it's repulsive. Repulsive to use something that's an avera, or like avodah zarah, to do a mitzvah, and such a special mitzvah like Hanukkah. Likewise, all wicks. Remember, we said all kinds of Jews, all kinds of bodies, all kinds of gufs are valid for Hanukkah lights to be lit up. Mitzvah min mufcha, to take the cotton for this purpose. That's the mitzvah min mufcha. To use the choicest way to do is to likach sema geffen. Vomville says in, I think that's Yiddish or something. But wicks are made from linen are equally acceptable. So it could be linen, flax. It doesn't say cotton. Yeah, cotton or linen is fine. Linen is flax. So yeah, so linen you can use or cotton. The question would be wool. Does that know? Probably not. Probably just burn. And it's it is not necessary to use wicks every night. New wicks every night. Rather, he may also like the wicks to be used on the first until they are used up. So say you lit up your menorah and it went out after the 30 minutes, which is the shear of the time you need to have it lit, but there's still a nice big wick because you've got big wicks for your candles. So now you can carry on relighting those ones that went out. The only thing I would say, usually what happens when you do that, is then it will probably go out pretty quick, because once it's been lit, it doesn't usually burn so good. That's been my experience. Right. So I always try to replace the wicks. And it's a nice avoda every night of Hanukkah to just spend a few minutes beforehand in the day, before the time of lighting, to replace the wicks with new ones and add the extra wick every night, the extra candle, and to have kavanas to think about different inyanim that are going on. Like one of the kavanas is 36 candles that connect the 36 sectors of Shas. So, for example, the first night you're lighting up the house with the aura of sectors brachas, all about Amunah and Zoroim, all about blessings, yeah. And then the second night is Shabbos and Erevin, etc. As you go through Shas, so you bring in the light of Shas, or the 36 Tzaddikim. You're bringing the light of the 36 Shabbos that Adam Rishon kept the first Shabbos of creation, 6 hours before Shabbos, 6 hours after, plus the 24 hours of Shabbos. That's 36 hours of Shabbos, which is the tikkun of the Chay of Adam Rishon. There's always this Indian of fixing up the sin. So now we're going to learn a little bit of Likutei Moharan, and we're going to see how it connects in. We'll come back to Hilchos Chanukah. I was planning on doing more, but I think I'll do the rest of the halachas when I'm in London. I'll please God bring this part of the Sefer with me, and I'll try keep up the halacha for next week and the week after, the next 2 weeks in London. Here we have Likutei Moharan. It's a Torah Lamed Vav, and it's Sif Beis. This is a famous concept from Rabbi Nachman. It's Christian Vada. Now, every time Rabbi Nachman says Vada, we're going up to the Olam Atzilas. So straight away, we already went out from Halacha to Atzilas. That's Soda Satoya. Shekolis Shal Shivim Loshin. We mentioned before in the previous concept, we're talking about Beis Yaakov. Beis Yaakov was Nefesh Echad, one soul. And that's a very deep concept, a unity of Am Yisrael, that we're really one soul, even if we're 70 souls that went down to Mitzrayim, but one soul, always one soul. And this is included in the Shivim Loshin. We're trying to elevate the 70 languages of the world, which fix up the 70 nations, which is part of our avoda, to elevate all the sparks of the world. Shemidasein haras halalu hi taivas niyev. So the attribute that's most the evil of all of these is the taiva, the desire of adultery. Yeah, it's something which is a very deep part of humanity, because we have the mitzvah to procreate, so we have to have that drive to be able to bring down souls, yeah, in the physical sense. But in another sense, it can be the biggest taiva, it can be the desire that could cause destruction for adultery, which destroys marriages, destroys without loyalty and honesty in this area. So v'hu Tikkun Klali, and there's this great tikkun that Rabbi Nachman's Ben Feiger and Nachman Simchas Rabeinu was megala to Am Yisrael, and to our generation more than ever, because when he was revealing everything he revealed, he was talking not just to his time, but all the doros till Mashiach, Adbias Gal Tzaddik, Tikkun Klali, Misha Mishabe Taivas Azos. And that's going to be the ultimate general fixing which includes everything, when we break this taiva. Azai b'kol yochol l'shabek kol ha'taivos. And through breaking the taiva of taivas niyah for adultery and thinking, about sexual masses, things like that, we fix up all the taivas. We break all the different desires. So you say, how is this connected to Chanukah? So we're just learning about Shemin Zayas, the neshama, and the guf, lighting it up, being more spiritually focused. And part of the beauty of marriage, when it's done right, is through this area, and when fixing this area, it brings light. It lights up the person. It allows the awe of the Torah, the bris, the covenant, the awe of the tzaddik. Yosef HaTzaddick's most of a holech. He keeps adding on light to the world. So that's the concept of adding on a candle every night. It's connected to the Indian of Yosef's the Beis Yosef Lahava. He's the flame that comes out of the Beis Yaakov, from the soul, the nefesh of Yaakov, and he brings out and is Megala and reveals. Yosef is also Gematria Sion, so he's that place where the unification, the yichud takes place between heaven and earth, between husband and wife, between Hashem and Am Yisrael, and that yichud is the tikkun of this taiva. And that's the concept, bringing that understanding, and by breaking this taiva, it fixes up, just like having a Beis Hamikdash in Yerushalayim, it fixes up all the taivas of the world. Everything gets fixed through breaking this taiva. So each person individually has to be very aware that this is one of the biggest tests and probably the most fundamental tests. It all goes all the way back to Adam Rishon. The Chet was the Nachash try to have relations with Chava. Yeah, it's all about connected to this taiva. The first woman was, there was adultery, and that was the whole tikkun is for us now in the end of days, where we're being tested more than ever with the internet and everything else. All the, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's all these but there's all these AI chatbots now attacking your feed. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah.
It's a new thing where it's like all these girlfriends, you can have a relationship with an AI. And there are people already committed suicide because of this, because it's like plays with a person's head. So we're allowing this artificial intelligence to manifest this taiva, and it's becoming a whole sales point. Every time I see it come up, I protest to whichever platform I'm on, and I ask them to remove these ads from my feeds, and they keep coming and keep coming. I don't know who's paying for it. Maybe AI itself is paying for it. Who knows? Yeah, it's a big problem before Mashiach comes. It's getting to the point where it's almost impossible to use the internet without having some sort of challenge in this area. So to break this taiva, this desire, is the key to breaking all the negative attributes. Because 70 nations also connect to 70 attributes, midot, which can be good or not. Depends which direction now. If they're for Hashem, then all the nations are recognizing God. And then Am Yisrael, which is the neshama, the panimis of all those nations, the shivim ponim the Torah. We're bringing out 70 different ways of learning Torah, and we're taking all those 70 lights, 70 nations, and all those attributes within each person get fixed and elevated. If not, God forbid, what's pulling us all down at the end of the day is the taivas. That's why I was explaining to this tzaddik Michal earlier today in the Bar Mitzvah Suda. I was explaining that for my son who was in Gaza, and in Gaza, and he went to the higher ups houses in Hamas land, all the big Hamas people, and he said almost every house he went into they had Hamas paraphernalia. But as you went higher up in the ranks to higher level houses with more and more weapons and proof of Hamas and terrorist involvement, the more they had taivas niyaf, the more they had sex tools and sex toys, and the more you could see how low these people really are. They're not like these religious, spiritual Islamics. They're murderers, and their weakness is, as it says, 9/10 of Znus was given to Yishmael. We know from this week's Parsha, Avram was asked to remove Yishmael because he was shooting arrows. What's the arrows? The bow, the keshet. He was using the keshet the wrong way. Kislev, we're going to learn, please God, B'nai Yisrael, when we get back to the office. Kislev is the time where you get the bow, this concept of bow, keshet, the attribute of the bris, the chodesh of Kitzur. We're using it in the right way, like Yosef HaTzaddick's path. And that tikkun of the bris is the key to getting rid of the klipat Yishmael. So there's a big milchama during the chodesh of Kitzur, which is connected YITZCHAK with Yishmael, with getting rid of this znus. That's the real success in the milchama. And you see, it's a big challenge in our door. That's the panemius of the challenge. Like I've said to people, and I said it in the intimacy share, like in Bnei Akiva, that the temple upon the Beis Hamikdash right now, their temple is connected the bris. If you look at it, it looks like a bris, but it's a fake bris, because they don't do the full bris. They only do the Sumerah. They don't do the Asay Tov. They don't do the Priya and the Mila. They only do the Priya, the Mila. They don't do the Priya. They just chop off the oral, but they don't reveal the Atara. They don't do the good part. And that's the panimis what the Bnei Yishmael are missing. And that's the problem that they unfortunately then fall into Taivas. And that they took the Chesed of Avram and they made it into a Taiva. Instead of the Avram being the Kedusha, which is what YITZCHAK does. The bris of YITZCHAK in this week's Pasuk, Shlama, is the completion of the Taivas of that Inyan of Chesed. For doing Chesed, that's the idea of connecting, doing kindness to someone in the most powerful way is for bringing down children and intimacy. But if it has to be done by Kedusha, and that's the bris that YITZCHAK Avinu got this week's Masha, and the Kedes YITZCHAK, the Mesiras Nefesh of the Kedes YITZCHAK, which is connected to the soldiers, and they're being Moshe Nefesh, then that is Mataya and brings them to the level of a Kedes YITZCHAK. That gives them ability to fix up their bris. So these young men are being Moshe Nefesh, they don't have time for Taivas. They're in a place of Mesiras Nefesh. So they're in a place of a Kedes YITZCHAK, and it's a test for us as a people that all these children, Shem Shemen, all these sons are being tested with giving up their life for Hashem. Please God, they should be protected and learning. It's for learning, they should all have Shmer Eliyahu. But the Panimis is they're fixing up the bris. It's the continuation of the bris of YITZCHAK Avinu with the Shlama through the Kedes YITZCHAK. That fixes up the Chesed and the Gevurah and brings everything to Rachamim, which is then to Yaakov Avinu. And Yaakov, it says, Reishis Ono, he never spilled a seed. He had Kedusha the bris. He's the Bechina of Tzaddik who never spilled seed. Everything was B'Kedusha and Tahara and with holiness and purity. And that's where YISRAEL comes out, the nation of Israel. We come out with that Mitasi Shlema, with a complete Shlema. And that Chanukah is we're trying to bring that Or, the Kohen Gadol, the Or of the menorah, into our homes to light up, and everyone becomes a Bechina Kohen Gadol when they light the Chanukah licht, and they have the ability now to bring that Kedusha of the Beis and Midrash, the Kodesh Kedoshim, into their home, and that's Mitasi Shlema. So this is a little connection between the Chanukah and the Likutei Moharan, and through Tikkun and Bris, and Tikkun and Taivas, and this fixes up all the Shiva Mamim. And then we have the Chanukah miracles and all the miracles Hashem's doing for us. We'll be learning about this concept that Moshe Rabeinu, he's the aspect of revealing Torah, and that's the Shivan Panim, we said, of Torah, the 70 aspects of Torah. Shu Bechin is Das, it brings Das. Das is remember we said Da is Atzilas, but Da is also Das, is also that, once again, that Inyan of intimacy, that knowing something intimately, deeply, in the most inward way. Torah Nikras Reishis Das, because Torah is called the beginning of Das. Because Moshe Rabeinu, the word, or two words of Moshe Rabeinu, is the numerical value of 613 mitzvahs. Shulchan is Kol Torah, that includes all the Torah. We said Tikkun Klali, it's with the general tikkun, the general fixing, and the Kol Torah Kula is Das, Zeh HaYisach L'Fresh, it's also from the Kosvata Po Amad Amadi. That you are standing there with me, and that's the concept that it's an intimate relationship with us and Hashem, Panim or Panim. You know, when I used to get a bracha from Reb Moshe Weinberger, we'll pause here because we'll have to do this after another time, and we're going to learn about the other form. Or maybe we can quickly do it. I'll say the Moshe Weinberger MASHA afterwards. Bilam Shai Keneged Moshe B'Klipa. Bilam is the opposite of Moshe. He's the Moshe Klipa, the external shell, externalized, the tumor version, the impure version. Moshe Kosev Yidei Das Alan. He knew Das, and from the higher level, Gam Oisis Bilam Ramaz of Shubaklika Keneged Torah. Because how is the letters of Bilam Keneged the aspects of the shell, the external aspects of Torah? Ki Beis he hitchalas the Torah, because Beis begins the Torah. Lamed is the Sofer Torah, so Beis and Lamed, that's Bilam. Ayin Keneged Shivim Ponim, 70 faces of Torah, 70 nations. Mem Keneged Abayim Yom Shenat No Torah. Mach Meshu B'Klipa, but he's the shell of the Torah. He's not the pneumis. Like you have the concept of globalization, but globalization is just external globalization. We see it's not real, like unified globalization. We're all connected, all interconnected through the internet, but it's not a panemius. It's lacking the neshama. That's our job, to bring the nefesh, the soul, the united souls, to the internet, to the reshet, to this rusha that we have to elevate the whole experience of internet, to bring true globalization. So we're actually connected on the inner level. Panim, that brings to the story of Moshe Weinberger. He said we should be zok to learn in Yerushalayim. I saw him at the Kotel once, dancing with soldiers, made a big impact on my sons. We were more in the Haredi world. We saw him dancing Leil Shabbos with all the soldiers. Afterwards, he gave me a bracha. We should be zok to learn. He said this actually a few times I saw him. Shezocher to learn panim upon him, face to face. That's the kind of intimacy we should have when we're learning Torah. It should be a tikkun of the bris. It should be das, true das. The Torah of Moshe Rabeinu of Kol Torah, all the 613 verses. V'ikach, when Moshe Rabeinu is going to match it, Tarak, 613. V'ikachu meshuka taivas is always pure. So we know that Bilam was, he's the opposite of that. He was more completely submerged in this taiva of nif. So we know by him that he was completely submerged, and like he was busy with his donkey or whatever he was up to. So he was the opposite of Moshe Rabeinu. Then it goes on to say, and we'll have to carry on this concept next time, but next week. Gam Yosef kodim shahaitelo is galas v'torah hainu chachmas bina kamo shereishis chachma ki bina tikra. So we have to do Marav now. We know it's going into the concept of Moshe Rabeinu. We knew that Moshe and Yosef HaTzaddick knew the 70 lashons. He knew the 70 languages in Mitzrayim. He also was tested in this area, and he overcame it. So we know learn from Yosef. We call him Yosef HaTzaddick. He was able to amid al nesoyin. He was able to break this klipa, the before the fruit, the peiros, pru revu, the fruits that come out from relation done in the right way. I know it's galas Torah she hachma bina, because of ein navan hacham kamocha. He was called that ein navan hacham kamocha, hachma bina. Yeah, hachma bina is a big part of Hanukkah. Hachma is connected to the shaman, and bina is this concept of Shemini, this eighth day. It's very very big tikkunim going on by lighting the 8 candles. And he goes on and on about this Likutei, and we have to stop because we're going to do the Shema, please God. And he goes on to talk about the Shema, about closing our eyes and connecting into the big iron, the Kedusha, the Da is Daled iron, Da, to know Hashem, to bring the Das to the Shivim Amen, to the Shivim Panim Torah, and to bring it out. There's a deep concept, but the main Likutei, what we need to realize when we're lighting Hanukkah, elevating everything.
Right. He believes that Beinani could become a tzaddik, right?
A Beinani. Yeah, because the concept, the Balatani's Beinani is, for most of our purposes and understandings, he's not listening to the YISRAEL ever. So he's always doing what Hashem wants. So to us, he'd look like a tzaddik, a real Beinani, full Beinani. Yeah? So we don't understand him as tzaddik, but the Likutei Panimis of the Tanya's, and the point is he actually starts to remove the evil within. So there's not even the voice of the evil. That's when he gets to a whole nother level of purification. Chalal Bakirbi is removing the evil from within him. And that's the idea of elevating all the 70 midot within through Tikkun Bris. That fixes up all the inner aspects, and that brings us to the level of Tzaddik, Emes, Tzaddik Imiti. So we have to really work on this area, and it's connected. Hanukkah is a big Tikkun of the Bris. And by saying Tikkun Klali and connected to the Tzaddikim, and by learning the Torah and connected to Moshe Rabbeinu's Das. And that this is what we have. This is the light, the Messiah, and this will bring Mashiach. Amen.